Hi guys, the camera is rolling, so I'm going to start talking. You know, life isn't like TV. It's not like a video you see on YouTube where they jump from one scene to the next. They make cuts in the video so you don't get to see the mistakes they made. But life isn't like that. Life is a constant, just rolling of the film, You can't cut out the things you don't like. You have to live with the mistakes, and then when they happen, you have to forget about it. So I'm not going to edit this video because I want to demonstrate what it really means to live in the moment. I hear this all the time, that people give advice to me or other people to live in the moment. Because when you're living in the moment, you're not going to be in your head. Because if you don't live in the moment, you're not going to be able to have fun. You're not going to enjoy yourself. You're not going to be able to experience what's really right in front of you. So let's take a moment and do a quick exercise. What I want you to do, and I'm going to do this as well, is I want you to look around the room. Make observations. Because when you're going to make observations, that's all you're going to do. That's all you're going to think about. So if I were to look around the room right now, I would say that I see a bed, I see a TV, I see a dresser, I see my clothes, I see a laptop, I see some books, I see my backpack because I got to go to school tomorrow. And, I could describe a lot of other things that I see right now because they're all observations. And after you do this, which I hope that you do, I want you to tell me what you're thinking about as you listed those off. Because odds are, when you start living in the moment, making observations about what's right in front of you, you're not going to be thinking about what you did yesterday. You're not going to be thinking about what you have to do tomorrow. You're not going to be thinking about how your life sucks right now and all the issues and problems that you have to do. You're just simply living. And that's something that people don't teach that often to other people. That's not something that people actually do with their life. And I see people, say things that just, you can tell they're just thinking about something and they're not having fun and living in the moment. And I fall into this trap too. I do this all the time, but that's when I realized, that I wasn't doing this. So what I did a few months back was I took out a piece of paper and I started making a list. And before I say what I wrote down, I have to make another point, which I forgot to make, was that there are 3 points in time. You have the past, the present, and the future. And we're only living in the present. The past is everything that happened before this point. The future is everything that's going to happen after this point. The past already happened, the future will happen when it happens, so let's just live that way. So what happens with most of us is we start thinking about all the things that are going on in our life. We think, okay, I'm really in a crisis right now. I'm not making enough money. People just don't like me. Somebody told me yesterday that they didn't like what I was doing. And then you start thinking about how you got to, all these responsibilities, you got to clean, you got to, take care of yourself and everything in your life. And sometimes we look at our situation and we compare it to other people's. We compare it to what it could be. And then you get down on yourself thinking that what you're doing right now isn't enough. So this is what I did. When I took out that piece of paper, I wrote down a list of all of the things that I did the past 2 years. And when I started reading off to myself afterwards the things I wrote down, I saw things like graduated high school, got a girlfriend, went to a funeral of my grandpa. I wrote down things, like, okay, started college, started making YouTube videos, made my website for the first time. So I wrote down all the major things that I did, or everything that I could remember. And that's when I realized that I never once wrote down something like, okay, on February 31st, I thought that so-and-so thought I was a loser. I didn't write down anything like that. The only thing I wrote down was the things that I actually did that were significant to me. So you got to gain some perspective from that tomorrow, a year from now, you're not going to think back on the things that you're thinking today. Your mind is always going. Everybody's mind's always going. You're always trying to calculate different things. You're always trying to guess people's reactions. You're always trying to judge yourself. You can't do that because in a year from now, you're not even going to remember any of this. You're only going to remember what you did. And if you're not living in the moment, if if you're not experiencing life, you can't create those memories. So that's what you got to think about. You got to think, what can I do right now, in the present moment, that I'm going to remember? How can I make this memorable? And that's what living in the moment is all about. Because we have the past, we have the present, and we have the future. And then we have what's going on in our mind 24/7. And if you can just stop thinking so much, which, I have to be honest with you, I really need to take my own advice here. If you can do that, you won't have anything to worry about. And by also living in the moment, what you're doing is you're taking care of problems as they come up, and you're not putting them off. You're not doing anything that could make the problem worse. You're just trying to fix it. So, I mean, that's a philosophy of life, of living in the moment, that not a lot of people live by, but it is some great advice. So, I'm going to actually end the video here. I hope that you get my point. I hope that you can take this to heart and really, learn something from this. And maybe you're already doing it already, but I'm not the kind of person who finds living in the moment to be an easy thing. But I have trained myself to learn how to do it, And by training myself how to do that, I've opened up so many new opportunities for my life. I greatly enhanced the quality of my life, and I love it a lot more. Because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I never could have been this person. I never could have had this much fun in my life. And now I'm really feeling great and loving my life. So if you want to love your life just as much as I do, start living in the moment. And I'll see you in my next video. Check it out.